Unavailable.
Hey everybody, it's me. I wanted to talk about. So this is my vlog for today. It's the 24th. It's been a pretty good day. I had my treatment plan, my care plan. So every 3 months we have a care plan where you meet and discuss your goals for like a half hour each, basically, or however long, but usually like a half hour. It's with the case manager and the case manager's supervisor. That's how they do it here. So we met and it was a very positive care plan. I could honestly tell them that I was doing really well. I did not go into the spirit stuff because that's just not something that people would understand. I mean, like, Lakeisha listened yesterday, but she was pretty zoned, so I think she was, like, feeling really bad with her cold and, like, half listening to what I was saying, which is fine. Because if a mental health professional really listened to every word I was saying, they'd probably be kind of worried. But, I do emphasize that, like, Bety is a shaman, like, and her friend, and Steven, like, and they're, like, legit, like, practitioners. So it's not, like, totally out there. It's like it has some like bearing. And I think that more and more, like, we were talking about, like, holistic stuff is coming together with the mental health stuff, including spiritual stuff like ghosts and things like that. So anyway, I didn't say that, but I said, I have felt so much better since we realized I don't have a dissociative disorder, and I am dealing with the stuff, and basically my friend said to not focus on it and not put my energy towards it. And Rob was like, what do you put your energy towards? I'm like, well, basically anything else. I writing, like, on the computer, YouTube, reading, like, take a bath, like, listen to music, like, anything to not focus on it. And they just said, okay. So I was really happy to just, like, tell them that and say that, like, that's basically, like, it's not like the end of the story, but, like, I know the solution to this problem and I'm working really hard on it, basically. And Bety is just amazing for that, like, shout out. And Lisa too, and Steve, and whoever I met at Aquarius Sanctuary, I think her name was, like, Lorna or something, at this college fair, because that's how I met Bety, and that's how, like, everything started with that when I was, like, 20. But anyways, so yeah, like I said, she has, like, been life-changing on telling me, because we have a relationship for years and I trust her, like, amazingly, and I know that she knows what she's doing with all this stuff. They called her on the phone, all these different lovely little creatures, and spoke to her, through me, so she knew what was going on, and she could, like, energetically sense them. So, we were on, like, the same ground around that, like, we both knew what was going on. I had a feeling it was something not mental health related, or at least not a dissociative disorder. It just didn't feel right. This feels right. It feels like this is what it is, and we're, like, attacking the issue, So, anyway, it was really good to say that, because for all my other care plans and meetings, I've been like, I'm still losing time, I'm still, like, not around. These other people are around, they're living my life, I'm just on the sidelines of my life, and everyone's like, well, that's too bad, and so, like, there was no help, and now there is, and it's just, like, completely life-changing. And I think maybe I just clicked on it, and, like, I understood things, all of a sudden that she'd been trying to tell me, and, like, I don't know, things just clicked, and I've been able to do, what she says is what you do, and it's been working. And so anyways, we talked about that, and then I said, well, I'm going to be seeing Megan, like, I am going to see, she does a therapy, and, internal family systems therapy, she's at the Awakening Center, everything else like that. She has good supervision. My mom is paying. Hopefully that will stay. I'm wondering how that's going to go. But because they haven't actually met to, like, talk on the phone to, like, set the money. But I talked about the meeting, that it went really well, and everything else like that. So we talked about that. We talked about my meds are good. The Buse bar helped calm me down. I still think there's something off I know there's something off in my brain on things like perception things and sensory stuff that goes on, that I don't know if it needs a biological thing on it or what, but like last night I was telling you about the water changing, and so I brought that up at Care Plan. I was really nervous about it because I was like, are they gonna think I'm crazy? Like, are they gonna call the doctor? Like, oh my God, Sam is feeling water, do something that it's not even doing, and craziness. So, but I just told them, I was like, have you ever experienced something like an ordinary thing, like hearing it or seeing it or whatever, and then it changes, like some quality stands out on it, or it just does something weird so it's different than like a second before, and that's probably not what it's supposed to do, but it's that it just happens and there's nothing you can do. And I explained like step by step the water thing, and at least I did. I'm like, I know it's a perception thing. I know it. I know I'm not like, I know that's not how it's supposed to be. And Rob is like, and Rob is kind of growing on me. He's like, well, the only thing that I could wrap my brain around was that you said it was a perception thing. I was like, yeah. And so he was saying, like, if every time on a certain day, like, Jess came into my room and I knew it was going to be her, then I'd know it was her. But then if he came in, I would be, like, scared because, I wouldn't be expecting it. And that's what he was saying. Like, it's something that you're not expecting, a change you're not expecting. And I'm like, yeah. It was a change I'm not expecting, but it's probably also a change that, like, no one else was seeing or sensing. So I wanted to talk about it, and like I know I shouldn't like make a big deal out of it, and like it's probably gonna make it worse. I mean, I haven't had that experience in a long time. I can't remember the last time I had that experience. No, because it was back when all my sensory stuff was going on and I was feeling and hearing things really weird, and that was like that was before March, because on March 13th it all stopped when we moved here. So I haven't had an experience like that since March. So it did scare me. And it does, like, scare me, and I'm also, like, mentally, like, curious about what's going on. So we talked, and I mentioned, because Jess is like, you had a panic attack yesterday, because she had heard me do the video. And so, like, I'm glad that I'm doing my videos, like, in privacy now, so that, like, I can talk, even though, like, she does watch my channel. I don't know if she really does or not, but not that often. She uses her channel more for like cat stuff. But anyways, because she was like, well, I heard you talk about you were having a panic attack. I was like, I wasn't having a panic attack. I felt like the first inkling of like anxiety or like my legs freezing up or something, and I got really worried. And so then we were talking about the thing I was doing the energy or the emotion like dial thing that I think I talked about, where it's like a big circle and you just like line up the arrow to whatever number and you just set it, like the AC or the thermostat or whatever. So I had mine, like, say it was at like 40 and then I set it to like 10, but I had to like keep doing that in my head and like to make it work, because that's the other thing Bety said, like when you do something like that, you have to like keep at it or else it's gonna like stop. It's not gonna stay the same like it does in like fantasy books. But anyway, so we talked about that and they just listened. I don't think they quite got it. I'm gonna make like an artistic representation of it so that like people can see. Like, I don't know, it's same as pretty self-explanatory to me. It's like a dial and you just like spin the thing. But I'll like show it, and yeah, I'll just like make one and be like, hey, here it is, look. At least I have art materials and an art therapist that understands what's going on and like is a really good art therapist. So like that's going to be a way that I can express what's going on, I think, because I really felt that way when I did my ghost keep away thing. And like that's really been great. Like I touch it and I'm just like, oh, feels so peaceful. But anyways, so we talked about that. So basically it was the best care plan I've had here. And it's like, it has nothing to do with them, like legit. It's me and like reaching out for the support that I need and just, doing what I need to do to help myself. Like it's really not anything to do with them. And like, they were just like, good, I'm glad you're doing better. Like there is such a limit to what they can do and what they will do that it's like they just kind of watch the action sometimes until you get like really down or, into some kind of crisis. But we also talked to the head of the CNAs about laundry, because there's this whole thing about like trying to get laundry done with like only a certain amount of washers and everything else like that. So it's we talked about that for a few minutes. But so that was the care plan, and then I came back here and just been like writing different people. It was so hard because it's really vulnerable to like ask for help, and I've been asking for a lot of help to one person on the spirit stuff, and we've been doing really good on that. But the other huge thing is these other symptoms, like the communicating and the sensing and the perceiving water as something else, and the panic, how it shows up. And I think that's all trauma stuff, plain and simple, but we don't know where it's coming from. No one really does. So I want to talk to people about that, but it's really scary because when it happens, I can just so easily shut it off. And like, I'm not someone where I'm like just sitting there paralyzed in the middle of a panic attack or like something and I don't know what to do. Like, I don't let myself get to that point because it's so scary. And so like the goal would be to actually try to feel a little tiny amount of it and then like keep going to try to tolerate it. And that's like a lot of what trauma therapy is like, okay, feel this for like 1.5 seconds and then like stop and focus on something else, and then feel this for like 1.5 seconds, and eventually apparently you would like tolerate what's going on. I haven't experienced that. Well, no, I have with Jonathan, and we would I would have all these experiences of feeling really mad or sad or upset or whatever, and actually talking about the experiences that made me scratch and cut and just completely want to turn it off because I felt like I shouldn't be feeling those things, or those things were just too out of proportion because that's what everyone was telling me, that I'm way too sensitive and dramatic and whatever. So we did that, and it was amazing, and I think that's why I'm not cutting now. Well, partly because I know it's like completely pointless. Like, literally in the environment I'm in, it wouldn't do anything. It would cause so many more restrictions, and just like completely like me having to be with staff for like huge parts of the day and dealing with all their stupid rules, and probably wouldn't even be able to get out of the building to go to therapy and whatever. And I know it's not good for me, like, but at the same time it's weird because I'm doing similar stuff than like what you would do on cutting. Like, how cutting worked for me was that I would it's a blocking out thing. So I would have to feel this pain to block out of my emotions because they were so strong, and I could never shift gears. I couldn't be someone that was like crying of any type and then like stop crying like in a second. That was never me. And then ever since December, like, that's been me. Like, I will just cry a little bit and then like stop or whatever. Like, it is just like a second like switch off of what's going on with my emotions, and was like that with the when we thought it was alters, ghosts, whatever, but that is what it's like now. It's like I can just shut things off so easily that it's scary, and then I think that's how it comes back in like the panic or like random things. So I want to talk to people about that, but I don't, because it would mean actually feeling it. Like I. Oh. What is going on? I have no idea. I'm gonna let that ring. Anyways, you can hear my phone. Yeah, it's a really simple phone, Verizon. I just have it set for that. Please say a command. And then it has the caller ID, like to say, it just says the number. Anyway, I could never use like an iPhone or anything. But anyways, this moment of like, oh, I want to call somebody, but like I don't, because it would be really like wicked scary. And like I don't want to call Betty because I've been like, I hound her all day on like Facebook. So like, but I'm just like, I do want to get help with this, but like I don't, because it's like terrifying. And there are so many things I can do to like distance myself from it and like numb myself out and not feel anything. But I know that that's probably not like the best way to go. It's like I asked for help on Facebook, and was just like, hey, does anybody know how to, would people be willing to help me if I'm in a panic attack or flashback? And that's not a very easy thing to do at all. Like, it's not just talking to someone. It's they're in a really horrible place that's probably, like, they can't even, like, hardly verbalize. And you have to help them, like, know that they're not alone and do whatever they need you to do on helping them, which some people, it's different things at different times, And you have to be really able to, witness those strong emotions and keep an eye on yourself and how you're doing and everything else like that. I haven't helped someone in a panic attack or flashback at all, but I've been around, like, people that are really in their like, I've been around my mom, like, when she's been drinking, so, like, I know that kind of, like, altered state of, really high emotions and having to, like, calm or be like a calm person if the other person is, like, really in a bad place. So I did that with my mom, and I did it in my internships somewhat, and I do it obviously with the crisis online volunteering, which I always am like, I wish I could do the hotline. Well, not right now. I'm taking time off from the volunteering because I need to take care of myself. But I was always like, I wanted to do a hotline because I feel like hearing the person's voice, at least for me, is so much more of an anchor when I'm in that place than writing, when I can still read the writing. But, it works so much better. And, like, I remember when I was first starting out with this, and I was talking to a girl who was really good at helping. And it was really interesting because she's physically, in physical years, very young. She's just, just 18 or 19, whatever, but, probably she's like a really old soul or whatever you'd call it, She has been through so much, and she is so open and able to help and calm and stuff like that. It's something that she just knows how to do. It's just so natural for her. That, you don't need to be a therapist to know how to do this. In fact, probably a lot of therapists that have all the right degrees and know the textbook stuff to say don't know how to do this. I can say that's, I've seen a lot of people here, staff or over at Albany Care, they know how to quote unquote help someone in a crisis. They really can't help someone in a crisis because they don't really know. Or they aren't really, like, on the emotional level with them. They're just, like, on the, like, let's just tell you something to do so I can move on to the next person, Like, they're not saying that, but that's, like, that's what's going on for them. So I said, I am not going to, like, bug anyone on this because this is so much more of a commitment and so much more of a, I mean, you have intense interactions writing, but there's a difference between, like, I think, like, leaving someone a message and you guys know that you'll get back whenever versus calling someone on the phone and, like, being a complete wreck. So I asked, and someone, a couple of people, said yes, or that and I asked, or I messaged some specific people and asked about specific, like, if they knew anyone or whatever, and they said yes. So it was really interesting. Like, I didn't know what to expect, and, like, someone that I don't really even know that well said they'd support me, and so I want to get to know them, and then hopefully we can support each other, and it's just interesting, like, finding new friends and new supports, and, going back to old ones, and, just people I know I'm going to be connected with for a long time. Like, I hope that I'm connected with Bety for, like, the whole rest of our lives. Because she's, like, amazing, and, she's amazing. And I can't even say how grateful I am for what she's done for me in the past, like, literally, like, week or two, that has been, like, so life-changing for me. And I would not be where I am right now without her. And, there are things that she can do on the same level that, like, so, she knows how to do, like, the energy stuff, and so, that's what the ghost is, the spirit thing, and, so she can, like, work on that level, like, they're on the same level, so, and everything is energy, so, because she can, like, remotely, like, send healing energy and do things, to help me, even if I don't know it, like, and sometimes I don't know it, and sometimes I'll be like, you must have done something because I'm feeling really good. Like, that would happen randomly back when I didn't really know what was going on at all. Or I was doing a lot of, like, you know, power struggle stuff in my head around it that was, like, wearing me out. But I'd be like, I all of a sudden feel, like, really good. And, like, there's nothing wrong. And, like, I'd write her. She'd be like, it's all you. I'm like, no, you did something. You did something. Or, like, her friend Lisa that I'm just getting to know was, like, you know, she said some prayer or something, and I was like, that must have worked because I've been good for a day or two, you know, or, like, however many hours. So they can do things that work, but it is me, you know, obviously. Like, I could just be, like, a complete, like, you know, be like, I don't want to do it, you know, and, like, whatever. But I'm not, you know, because I want my life back, and I'm getting my life back. I'm getting my life back. It's just gonna take a while. But I feel more clear about things, like I said, and to take a huge, I mean, these are the two problems. One was that, the blacking out and being not myself. The other is the whole emotions, physical trauma things. And that's gonna be harder to tackle, I think. Because they're not the same. I don't believe that the ghosts are causing at all this other stuff. So anyways, but that's been my day today. Oh yeah, I'll do another vlog about this other thing that I was thinking about, around the stuff I do in my head versus, like, my emotions and things like that. But yeah, this has been a long enough video, and you're lucky if you could follow, like, my, like, thought process. But yeah, I am just really happy right now. So yay, I will talk to you later. Bye bye.
My movie web stop button.